What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Sunday edition of NFL Turf Talk. I am one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And of course, my faithful co-host to my right and also co-founder of DSM Media, Scotty. You can find him on Twitter at Scotty Drown. And like I said, we are brought to you by DSM Media. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to the show, check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. You can find a link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform that we are on. And we are on all of them, Scotty. We are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, and we stream to you guys live through our Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook accounts. And today is NFL Divisional Round Part 2. Yesterday, we previewed the Bengals and Titans and San Fran and Green Bay games. And today's show is going to be fun, Scotty, because both one seeds go down with late field goals. The Bengals advance to the AFC Championship game where they will either meet the winner of tonight's game between the Chiefs and the Bills. And, of course, San Fran, the 6th seed, Jimmy G, gets to the NFC Championship where they'll also be on the road to meet the winner of the Rams and Bucs game just coming up in a few short hours. So we'll be previewing those games, recapping yesterday's games, and having some fun little parlays set up for you guys. I'm disappointed to say neither hit yesterday.
One of my safe ones hit yesterday.
Okay.
So I didn't win too much money.
You want to know one I lost?
Still decent.
I threw another one in with George Ryder. A safe one.
Yeah.
And we missed by 3.
Safe.
Yeah, we missed by 3 Derrick Henry rushing yards.
Oh man. So what was he at? 50?
No, we had him over
65?
60, over 64.5. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So what a way to end that game. What a way to end that night. And then of course the DraftKings boost that I mentioned yesterday. San Fran doesn't score a rushing touchdown in last night's ball game. So that came to a halt. I don't even get the chance at it today when it was looking good. The first 3 teams were able to do it, but not the 49ers. But yeah, man, like I said, some interesting stuff happened yesterday. So I don't know where you want to start. I guess we can start with those 2 games and then get into how the Bucs and Bills and Chiefs and all looked last week, and then bring it home with today's games. But we can start right with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals taking down King Henry and Tennessee. What were your thoughts on this game, man? This was both games to me were very weird. It didn't have much flow. Neither game had flow. A lot of QB pressures, a lot of sacks in both games. None of the 4 teams were able to establish the run at all.
Yeah.
Lots of turnovers, low scoring. What were your thoughts on the Bengals Titans game?
So just looking at this game by itself, which I guess I'll throw it out there with my safe parlay. I had a Mixon anytime, TD Henry anytime, and Cincinnati money line. So I went into this game thinking Cincinnati could and should win this game. And really it came down to exactly what it came down to. Like the reason that I picked Cincinnati in this game is the reason that they won the game, and it's because I trust Joe Burrow more than I trust Ryan Tannehill, and it's as simple as that. And it turned out that both of these defenses are really good, really, really good. And I say both because Cincinnati, I know the Tennessee Titans had the 9 sacks, which tied like an all-time record as far as so many sacks in a playoff game in one single game. But on that other side, you have the Bengals just completely being ball hawks, getting after it on the defensive end, being aggressive. They start the game with a pick, right? Like they pick
first
off
play
Ryan
of the game
Tannehill to start the game, and the game kind of ended like that as well. I believe Logan Wilson picked off Ryan Tannehill off a tip pass to end the game, and ultimately set the Bengals up to go for that field goal at the end. But both defenses were impressive. The thing that I want to say about the Bengals, and I'll kind of let you digress on it, but they can win in multiple different ways.
100%.
We saw that yesterday. We saw their offense wasn't able to explode like it usually does, but they still had that Chase and Burrow connection. Chase still went over 100 receiving yards. Burrow still went over 300 passing yards, so they moved the ball. But as we said, that Titans defense just kept holding drives with monumental sacks. So they were settling for a lot of field goals. but ultimately that defense showed that they can stop one of the premier offenses. And the only reason I call the Titans a premier offense is because they were healthy yesterday. They did have their weapons. We finally saw Julio get involved on the offensive end. We saw A.J. Brown go over 120 receiving yards. We saw Derrick Henry get in the end zone. He wasn't his normal workload, but they also couldn't really use him in that normal workload. So seeing the Bengals able to come out, control this game, and win in that tight fashion, low scoring, really bodes well for them moving forward, in my opinion.
I agree. You hit on a couple things there. Let's start with the Joe Burrow. You mentioned 9 sacks. Impressive as all hell. Like I'm gonna steal a tweet of yours, right? And we're gonna talk about this. The conversation is no longer. I think you said it before the game. The conversation is no longer Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow ascending. Which one's better? No. Joe Burrow is elite.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is in the conversation with Patrick Mahomes, with Josh Allen. He's there. He's already arrived.
I agree.
Joe Burrow is in that conversation right now. And he's gonna go head to head with the winner of either Mahomes or Allen today. But that performance was just so impressive to me, Scotty, because no, he didn't throw a passing touchdown. He got hit 9 times, but he continued to just stand in the pocket, deliver the ball accurately all game. He threw for over 340, and when it mattered most, he drove them down the field. Jamar Chase with another huge impact. What do you have? 5-6 catches for over 100 yards. Again,
easy,
first two playoff games, over 100 yards for Jamar Chase. And on the defensive side of the ball, not only did Cincinnati, turn over Tennessee, they won the turnover battle, right? They found a way to slow down Derrick Henry in a big way. Derrick Henry averaged under 4 yards per carry.
That never happens.
No, and like
forward for 4
like
yards.
I said, the flow just wasn't there. Tennessee, I don't know if it was the bye or whatever it was. The play that sticks out to me is towards the end of the game when I'm needing 5 more yards from Derrick Henry to try to win my parlay. It was the last thing I needed. And on 3rd and short, they run a read option.
Yeah.
Tannehill, who was horrible in the passing game, makes the wrong decision. Derrick Henry picks up that first down. I hope everyone realizes that. He picks up that first down. Tannehill keeps it, probably loses a yard or so, and then they try to run it. They try to bounce one to the outside on 4th down, and Henry gets stuffed. They had no flow to their offense. Anytime something good happened for Tennessee, it felt like Tannehill screwed it up a couple plays later with a turnover. There were a couple, not Hail Marys, but, just F it. A.J. Brown's down there somewhere, right? And he caught a couple deep balls, but that was it. Tennessee's offense had nothing for Cincinnati yesterday. Their defense kept them in the game. Once again, this is another game where their defense did their job.
100%.
They held Cincy under 20 points. Now, going forward, what I will say, your one point I loved, we haven't seen Cincinnati explode yet.
Yeah, that's a great point.
They scored 26 against Las Vegas, which 26 is 26, but it's still, it was a low 26, right? It was a hard, a tough earned 26, right? In a close game. Now they scored 19. We have not seen him actually go off yet, and I think that's something you should be looking out for next weekend.
Yeah, and obviously we'll see how this matchup plays out today. We'll get into that a little bit, as far as the Chiefs and Bills. But say the Chiefs win that game. I mean, the Bills are a different animal because the Bills have a better defense than the Chiefs. If the Chiefs had to go up against that offense in the AFC Championship, I would be highly worried.
It's
scary. The same reason you would be worried about the Chiefs today, which we'll get into it today, about them going against the Bills, right? Like just that high-powered offense and a quarterback that can simply do it all. And just, touching on your point, Dylan, about Joe Burrow, I just wanted to kind of, go back to that point. Looking at his numbers, the 348 yards, like you mentioned, sacked nine times. The interception was like something that bounced off somebody's foot. You know what I mean? It was something ridiculous. But we talk about all these momentum swings with the sacks and even that one interception that he did throw. And the guy is just unflappable, like you said. And, he even got off the ground a couple times. and, was bending his knee. You saw him
Mhm.
flexing his knee, like trying to make sure everything was good with his leg. And, as a fan base or as a fan that has history of watching somebody recover after an ACL injury, to see Burrow's confidence going out there, sack after
That's my
sack,
point.
just getting
That was
up,
my biggest
and
takeaway.
he's not pulling one of those, Derek Carr's fall in the
Right.
pockets. Like he's not doing any of that. He's standing in the pocket and he's delivering. And that's exactly what you want to see. Like not only from your young second-year quarterback, but from a guy that's coming off a season-ending injury to his leg. I mean, he does not lack confidence in any way. And you saw it last night. I mean, even him talking about driving down the field and leaving it in the hands of his kicker. He has an insane amount of confidence in his rookie kicker, right?
Yeah.
Like they basically won that entire game for them yesterday. So it's his confidence, his leadership. It stems throughout the entire organization, as you can see what he's been able to do as far as since he's came there and been able to turn this around. And it's insane, man. And it fuels that just once again, as I always do, bringing it back to a point of reference with the Eagles. It gives us that other side of the conversation where a quarterback can change your culture. And he can change your momentum. He can change the trajectory of your entire organization.
Or a franchise quarterback, an elite quarterback, a great quarterback can overcome shortcomings in other areas of his offense. He doesn't need everything to be perfect. And again, I know we're taking little jabs at our own favorite team, but it's
at Wentz, because you look at Wentz last year with that tumultuous offense.
Right. No, exactly.
It's like he threw 20 20 turnovers, whatever, last season. Joe Burrow didn't turn the ball over like that. And that's crucial, man.
So not only was it like when you see a young boxer, right? Or the term, does he have a chin? Like he hasn't been touched through his first 6 fights. Does he have a chin? What happens when he gets his shit rocked, right? We saw Joe Burrow get his shit rocked 9 times yesterday, and he came back in the pocket every single time, dude.
Yeah.
Like that, the kid's got a chin. And again, just the last thing on Joe Burrow and this Bengals team is the defense played great. Jamar Chase over 100 yards. Burrow played great, but you saw their one weakness offensively, rear its ugly head yesterday, and they still won.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous team going forward because that offensive line, we know it's bad. Like we understand it's bad.
Yeah.
But 9 sacks, that tied an NFL record, I believe.
Yeah.
So like they're not going to play that bad again. They might play bad. Buffalo, Kansas City, they're going to get their hands on Burrow. They're not going to get their hands on him 9 times.
Right.
And he was able to overcome that already.
Right. And, and that's kind of where we can leave that, as far as this game as a whole. A very impressive showing by the Bengals and, another questioning outing from the Titans in the playoffs where we just see them, throw their entire work that they put in the regular season goes out the door in one playoff game. And it sucks to see that happen to Tennessee, who fought through so much. But I guess the final question or the final takeaways for me out of this game, just regarding the Bengals closing that out, they can beat anybody. Let's be clear about that. Like I truly believe the Cincinnati Bengals can beat anybody in this playoffs. Now they obviously can lose as well. Like I'm not saying that they're the favorite, but they can beat anybody that's left.
They're not going to be the favorite, probably the rest of the way, unless they met maybe San Fran and Cincinnati Super Bowl potentially.
San Fran beat Cincinnati in the regular season.
Listen, man, this playoff, this postseason has kind of not played out the way we expected. We talked about how we'll get into Super Bowl picks. My Super Bowl pick got bounced at 8 p.m. last night. Or obviously when the game ended, it was late. But my Super Bowl pick got bounced. Okay. But it just goes to what we were saying before the season started. Or not before the season started, before the playoffs started. There's no clear-cut winner. Yes, did Green Bay look like the best team, best record, number 1 seed? Yes. But the whole field was wide open, and you're seeing that now. Like a 6 seed is in the NFC Championship. A 4 seed in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
A young, inexperienced 4 seed is going to the AFC Championship. It's going to be very interesting next weekend, dude.
Yeah, to say the least. And one last question regarding these two teams, Cincinnati and Tennessee. That is, what do you do if you're Tennessee? Like, do you just go in and like you have to go into next season with Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback? Like,
Yeah,
I hate to be like that. You know what I mean? Like Ryan Tannehill has
Terry,
such an up and down career,
I'll
but
give one for you, Terry. Go Niners.
Go Niners, man! It's a good time to get into that game. Obviously, I did want to get your thoughts.
Last
What would
thing.
you do with Tannehill, though? What would you do regarding that?
You have to try to find
An
another
upgrade?
option. You don't force one.
Didn't they just give him an extension?
Yeah, that's the issue. They're not gonna find one. But it's something that I don't know what Tennessee was thinking. Obviously, franchise quarterbacks just don't grow on trees, right?
Right.
But you're set up you were just the 1 seed. Missing Derrick Henry. You are the best running back in football. You have A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, a good offensive line, a very good head coach. That defense has been very good all year long. You just need someone. Here's the issue with what happened yesterday, Scotty.
Yeah.
Tannehill lost them the game.
Yeah.
They just needed someone yesterday that didn't necessarily need to win them the game. He just couldn't lose them the game.
Yeah.
And he lost them the game. Going forward, to me, yeah, you have to try to find an upgrade. I don't think they will. I'm pretty sure they did just extend him. And what else is really out there? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to find a way to bring in Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson? What's this draft class? Like, obviously, your pick's going to be in the latter part of the first round anyway. Right. So Tennessee's in a weird situation. The last thing that I wanted to ask you, I know we both picked Cincinnati. And, we believed Cincinnati could and would win the game, I guess, since we did pick them officially. But it was a surprise. I mean, they walked into Tennessee, the number 1 seed, and upset them. What was kind of your shock level? Like, where you wow, like this team's legit. You didn't think that before you didn't think they're legit before the game, but you just didn't think that they would actually rise to the occasion to win that game.
I think what it was I didn't think they would win the game the way that they won the game. I thought that they would win the game by their usual, airing it out. I thought Joe Burrow would have to throw it, which he did, throw it for 300 passing yards.
But he didn't have a passing touchdown.
He did not have a passing touchdown. They did not, do whatever they wanted with that Tennessee defense, as we've already mentioned several times with the 9 sacks. So that, I guess, one side of the surprise would be how bad the Bengals offensive line is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were that bad. But, on the other side, it's how they won. It was a defensive focused game, and they were able to pull that out, which just speaks to how good and how far their defense has come, on the other side of the ball there in Cincy. So that's where my shock level would come from is, 1, how bad their offensive line was. 2, how good their defense was and how how opportunistic they are in the turnover department, I should say.
Well, I hope everybody took the under for these games yesterday, because if you thought 35 points was low, I got a better one for you. How about 23 total points from the night game last night? This was, and I don't even want to call it old-fashioned, but this was just Green Bay in January, cold as shit, trying to run the ball. Neither team could run the ball. Let's see. Elijah Mitchell averaged 3.1 yards per carry. Deebo Samuel carried the ball 10 times, only had 39 rushing yards. A.J. Dillon, 3.5 yards per carry. Aaron Jones, 3.4 yards per carry. Neither team, they tried to run the ball.
They tried.
Neither team was successful running the ball. Both defenses played well. And here's where I'll throw it to you first. Everyone can talk about the special teams all they want. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers put up 10 goddamn points at home after a bye week. I don't want to hear it. They did not lose that game because they're the worst special teams unit in football. They lost that game because potentially the MVP of the league, which I know it's a regular season award, but voters, I promise, that's probably that's going to be frowned upon when it comes to voting time. And they came up very short, Scotty. I don't know. I'm trying to find the words. I had nothing else to say besides they came up short. I'm shocked. I did not. That was my lock of the weekend. That was it. Cincinnati. I picked Cincinnati. not overly confident. Today's games are tough as hell
Yeah.
to pick.
Yeah.
That was my lock. I wasn't even just taking Green Bay money line. I was taking spread, alt spread. I was confident in that team last night. I was confident in Aaron Rodgers to finally show up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it becomes a certain point. Don't get me wrong, dude. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. He might be the greatest thrower of the football that I've ever seen. I've said that to you multiple times before.
Yeah.
But when do we – I mean, I know people have the conversation, but when do me and you start to have the conversation of like, this dude doesn't show up? He does. Nick Foles has more playoff wins in the last decade than Aaron Rodgers does.
It's insane, man.
Or I forget, or what year, whatever year it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Probably since he last made his last Super Bowl playoff run, like when he won the Super Bowl, actually. So, yeah, I'm with you. I literally all I have written down here, Dylan, is Aaron Rodgers with 3 question marks, because going into that game yesterday, I believe I said to you, this matchup, like if you look at the matchup of San Fran versus Green Bay, San Fran has everything that could match up well against Green Bay. Like, it's a good matchup. It's just when you boil it down to who you're talking about here, when you're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and Aaron Rodgers. And what we saw is that Aaron Rodgers in this Packers offense got defeated by the San Francisco special teams and defense. Like,
that's my point.
That's what happened. That is insane to say.
San Fran had no business winning that game.
They had no business.
None.
Jimmy
G
I know, like, you can call it
box score checking all you want. You go back and you look at San Fran's numbers offensively from this ball game. Jimmy Garoppolo only threw the ball 19 times for 130 yards. No touchdowns, a pick, 4 sacks. Like I said, neither running back averaged 4 yards per carry. Elijah Mitchell, 17 carries for 53 yards. Leading receiver only had 4 catches for 63 yards. Their offense didn't score a goddamn touchdown.
Yeah.
And they won the game. They had no business winning this game. Man. The bottom line is what you said. Aaron Rodgers with 3 question marks, because what the hell?
You know what I mean? Like, what happened? Like, is it too cold for Aaron Rodgers? Like, is that what the problem is when we get to the playoff time and it gets like negative degrees that Lambeau is just too cold for their own quarterback? Like,
Tom knows. Tom said, "F this. I'm going to South Beach."
I feel it. And that's what's funny. Because everybody's been talking about Aaron Rodgers going to like Denver, and I'm like, man, why the hell would he want to go somewhere else where it's cold in football season? Like, I don't know that I would pick that spot, man. I'm picking somewhere warm. But it was. It's just, I think it's as simple as that. Like, there's no overanalyzation here. Like, the Packers came out. You saw that first drive of the game was totally scripted. Obviously, you have your script coming into the game, and they took the ball down the field. They have everything going, getting the ball to Devontae Adams. They let AJ Dillon run it right down the middle, right into the end zone. So you see them start. My
rushing touchdown bet was looking great.
It was looking great, and you're looking at this Packers offense that just did whatever they wanted on that first drive, and then from there out, whether it's San Fran's defense, really ironing down and saying no more, or if that's Aaron Rodgers, it's a complete choke job, which I think it's the latter. I think it's the choke job side of it. San Fran has a great defense. Don't get me wrong. They've been great all season. But there's never been one point throughout this season where we think that a Green Bay-led offense by Aaron Rodgers is going to come away with 10 points with all their weapons.
It's crazy, though, Scotty, because, yes, he choked big time. Aaron Rodgers we just talked about Ryan Tannehill not needing to win the game, but he lost in the game. Aaron Rodgers didn't lose Green Bay the game, but he needed to go win the game. If you want to look at his numbers, I mean, he completed, over 66% of his pass attempts. He's 20-29, 225 yards, no interceptions, basically a 92 quarterback rating. The bottom line is he was sacked 5 times. And those 5 sacks came in critical moments.
0 touchdowns for the first time all season.
That's coming up short. That's a complete and utter choke job. No, he did not lose them the game with his play, you could say. He didn't turn the ball over. He wasn't inaccurate all game. It wasn't anything like that. He just didn't make the plays necessary to go and win Green Bay the game, which at this point you expect Aaron Rodgers to do on a nightly basis. And he just, again, came up short. That's the only thing I can say.
And on the other side of it with San Fran, it's like their defense is just like, you know what, Jimmy G, do whatever the fuck you want on offense. Like, throw as many picks as you like, contribute towards losing as much as you want because we're gonna save your ass and take us to the Super Bowl. Like, that's what this defense. I mean, this defense must be the best in the world, right now, the way they're looking. I have it written down here, like the way San Fran plays, keeping it low scoring, like they can beat anybody like that as long as they can play like that. That's a formula that wins. And that's kind of the other side of the conversation, right? Like we were talking about Joe Burrow that kind of lifts his team, takes them to the promised land, the next level. Talk about Jimmy G, who is just is he even a game manager? Like, is he even a game manager? And that's why I put it in our DSM chat this morning. I was like, he has to have the luckiest career of surrounding talent as a quarterback.
For sure. Because you know how I said to you yesterday, like, he won't lose you a game. He damn well should have lost them that game.
Tries his hardest too. Like,
and he just didn't. 4 sacks and a pick. No touchdowns. 11 of 19 passing. That should lose the game.
100%.
That
he
defense
went into the third
is elite.
quarter with like 75 passing yards. Into the fourth quarter, excuse me. Like, what the fuck?
This is my point. This is my overall takeaway from Saturday. Nothing made sense.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Neither game had a flow. Neither game felt like really any of the teams could settle in. Low scoring, defensive, turnovers, lots of sacks. When is the last time you could go back and see 4 sacks, 5 sacks, 9 sacks? It was a weird day. Yeah, both unders hit, and I would say today, Scotty, take the overs on both.
Hey, Pastor Rams, this is my boy Warren's. He's a Rams fan, so hey, you tuned in right in time because we're going to be getting into that here soon. But
Lucky man.
Great minds think alike. That Ralph Lauren never lies, Remy. So I'm with you, brother. Yeah, looking at yesterday, and what it makes me feel like for today's slate of games, Dylan, it makes me feel like today is going to be like a bunch of points. Yeah, that's honestly 100%. What it makes me feel like. But as soon as I start to think that, yeah. You know what happens. One last thing regarding this Packers and 49ers game, which definitely the biggest surprise of the weekend, I would say. Even if you thought 49ers had a chance, you didn't really think they had a chance, right? Like, unless you're a 49ers fan. How'd your parlay? How did like any of your parlays look in this game?
No, they got destroyed. I mean, Alan Lazard, I think, only had 1 catch.
I had the nerve to put 200 plus passing yards for Jimmy Garoppolo in one of them. I don't know what I was thinking. Don't ask me. I don't know what I was thinking.
I mean, at this point, you would just assume that was a given, but no.
Like to win the game, yeah. I don't know, man.
None of them were club. I'm trying to remember what I put in that last night. Obviously, I had Lazard anytime touchdown. That didn't happen. Green Bay alt spread obviously didn't happen.
I think you had Dylan 25.
Dylan 25 hit right on the nose. Kittle 40 plus hit, and Rodgers, I believe I stuck at 250, and obviously he finished right at 225. So
of course,
yeah. So last game, I don't show me a bet slip that came out looking nice after last night's game.
Yeah, there's no way. I like if you picked an AJ Dillon tutty with like a special teams touchdown. Right. Yeah, kudos to you, brother. But I don't see that.
Show me that slip.
Show us that slip. We need proof.
Yeah,
we need receipts. But I guess we'll get into the Rams Bucks game first. We'll start by like similar to what we did yesterday. Just a briefer recap. Obviously, we got a little bit more games to get into today, so. Just looking at this Bucks game, obviously we had the Bucks matchup with the Eagles last weekend. We know what happened with that. We talked through that already. Brady, 29 for 37, 271 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Vaughn, 17 carries, 53 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Mike Evans went off 9 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. And of course, they limited the big thing about what they did to the Eagles offense last week. They limited the number 1 rushing unit in the NFL to minimal rushing yards, minimal rushing attempts, and totally had our offense out of whack, as you could see. What I will say, takeaways from that game, they went ahead, they eliminated the Eagles running game. Obviously, that set the Eagles totally back. Like, there was no way, they didn't have a response for that. So that was like a warm-up game for the Bucs, if I'm being honest. I think it was 31-0 at one point. Is that right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not taking too much like from that game. And
no, it was a tune-up game. You're 100% right. Like, listen, as Eagles fans, we wanted to go in and we wanted to think that the Bucs rush defense was fraudulent this year. We wanted to think that Eagles had a puncher's chance and that they could win this game. We wanted to think maybe the Eagles weren't the worst team in the postseason. No, 14 teams made the postseason, and the Eagles were number 14.
Yeah.
Sure. They didn't look like they deserved to make the postseason. It was a warm-up game. You're 100% correct. Brady did whatever he wanted, and he was inaccurate to start the game. Like, if Brady does that today, he could be looking at different results. But he against the Eagles, he could afford for that to happen. Like you said, they eliminated the Eagles rushing game, and then you just hear the clip of the Bucs defensive.
We haven't even talked about that, Dylan.
No,
oh my God!
We haven't. And
the DSM chat of apologizers for Jalen Hurts didn't even acknowledge the video.
Yeah.
Which you cannot have somebody on another team's defense.
For the second time
this season, get caught on camera, on audio, saying that the quarterback cannot read the field.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, listen, man.
Why are we ignoring that in the DSM chat, Phil and Jason Voorhees? Answer my DM. No, that's funny though. But yeah, no, that was, insane to hear and watch that playback. But, speaking from a well-experienced defensive, that defensive coordinator that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have there with Todd Bowles, makes sense, looking back on it. I feel we talked about it on Monday, but I feel foolish for picking the Eagles in that game, and I simply shouldn't.
I mean, so we fooled ourselves into thinking they even had a chance, let alone picking
having
win.
A chance.
It was just, it's in the moment, we should have been better. We should have known better. I think in the back of my mind, I'd like to believe I did know better. It was just doing the pregame show. This could be it. This could be the last game until next season. I'm not going to pick against my team. Like, let's just hope negativity. Yeah, I'm not going to be negative. And then, of course, if I'm negative, they'll win the freaking game. And then you pick against the Eagles. So we fooled ourselves into thinking they had a chance. Tampa Bay took full advantage of that. Now, if you want to get to Tampa Bay's opponent today, their opponent played a division rival.
Yes.
And their opponent dominated that division rival. And listen, we're calling the Rams frauds this year. And maybe they still are. But they sent a message in the middle of the season that they were going all in. They go out. They make the move for Odell Beckham Jr. They go out. They snatch up Von Miller. Right before the season, obviously, they bring in Matt Stafford. They move Jared Goff. And paid off big time. OBJ with his first career postseason touchdown. Von Miller making a play or two. This team looked well-tuned. They looked ready to go. This matchup today, Scotty, is going to be a ton of fun because the Rams looked really dangerous last week.
Yeah, 100%. And, that was part of what I had written down here as well. You're looking at the Rams. They went out and beat the Cardinals, who obviously they split the season series against. But they beat them 34-11, and it was an onslaught. Like, it wasn't very close at all. Kyler Murray, speaking on him, my goodness, like I was very high on Kyler Murray, and it was against let me put it this way. I shouldn't say I was very high on Kyler Murray. I was under the impression that Kyler Murray was very good.
Yeah.
But it was against my better judgment to
maybe Kyler Murray's
that impression.
Maybe Kyler Murray's just good.
Maybe Kyler Murray. I don't even know.
Good quarterback.
Good, yeah. I'm struggling. I know people have bad games, man. People have bad games. I'm struggling with this, and it's for a lot of the same reasons that I don't like Jalen Hurts that much as the Eagles quarterback, and I'll kind of leave it there. Short, mobile quarterbacks can't see over their offensive line, and as soon as you take a top 5 wide receiver from Kyler Murray, he looks like a bottom of the league quarterback.
Right.
I mean,
100%.
Maybe it's just a really good Rams defense. That could be part of it. But
my Eagles brothers and sisters, my Eagle fans, brother and sisters, listen. That was not Monday night. Was not a time to come out, and you saw them all over social media. Oh, you see, a quarterback can struggle in the playoffs for the first time. You see what happens? No, they both sucked. Okay, point blank. Period. They both sucked.
Kyler Murray did do some shit like this end zone. Weird shit. I don't know what he was doing.
He looked horrible, and it's something that you and I spoke on ever since D-Hop went down, and then we kind of let it marinate. We let the Cardinals play out for a couple more weeks, and then once you saw the L's start to pile up, we were like, wow, D-Hop changed that offense tremendously to a level I could never expect. But are we that surprised? Like I said, that offense is very nice and very explosive. When DeAndre Hopkins is the number one.
Takes
why?
2 defenders off, why? From everybody else.
Because that makes the 38-year-old AJ Green, however old he is at this point, that makes him go from the number 2 to the number 1 option. That makes Christian Kirk go from a slot guy to a number 2 option. That makes Rondale Moore, who's kind of used as a specialty kind of guy, that makes him have to be a bigger threat. Right. James Conner had a nice regular season. Chase Edmonds had a nice regular season. Those 2 backs are not going to get you very far, right? And like you said, Kyler, he couldn't do anything. He looked pedestrian in that Rams game.
Very.
And listen, I'm not going to go – I don't want to go too overboard. I think Kyler Murray's still a good quarterback.
He has talent.
But to your point, we went from thinking Kyler Murray is probably like a top 6, 7, 8 in that range.
Yeah.
Is he?
Right.
Is he? And it's something next season is going to be very interesting when we do our power rankings for quarterback, Scotty, because like you said, you don't want to judge a guy on one poor performance, but like Dak Prescott choked in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, as much as we love him, choked in the playoffs. Kyler Murray choked in the playoffs. So where do these guys all really fall when it comes down to the elite talent?
And, Dylan, I think, just speaking from like a content creating standpoint, like not even talking, about the quarterback, just kind of how we've grown as content creators and even just running this show, right? Like we're starting to figure out what trends we see in the NFL. We're starting to figure out how we want to list things out. So, as we grow and we learn more about the game, as we're trying to cover every single team in the NFL now, we're learning more about what we believe in as far as some of these players and some of these positions in the NFL as well. So
when you have to
throw
talk
that in there,
when you have to talk,
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't, Scotty or myself saying, well, we talk about it, so we know football. But when you have to come on here for over an hour each time, twice a week, and we don't just cover the Eagles, we cover every team, we have to pay closer attention to every team around the league. Yeah. So, yes, it was just one game, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Like, yes, it was his worst game, but the Cardinals started out 7 or 8-0 this year. And then obviously what they finished with, 10 wins, 11 wins?
10 or 11, yeah.
Right. Okay. So once D-Hop went down, Kyler's play went down. So you can say all you want, oh, well, it's one game. It was his first playoff game. No, he's looked like that for 6 to 7 weeks now because he didn't have a DeAndre Hopkins type of wide receiver out there. But that's the Cardinals. They're sitting home with you and me today.
Yes,
and
they are.
The Bucs and the Rams are kicking off in just over an hour, Scotty. This game, like I said, I'll throw it to you first, but this game's it's going to be a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And just looking at the lines right before I got on here, I believe Tampa Bay was like a 3-point favorite, which they're the home team, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So Tampa Bay is the home team. So that's not even it's pretty much even
No,
basically
yeah.
what Vegas
Basically
is
a
saying.
pick 'em, yeah.
So and I that's what I would call it as well. I was talking to Warren's, as I mentioned, he's in the comments here. He's a Rams fan. I've been talking to him about this game a lot. And he believes that the Rams are going to win this game. So just speaking from a Rams perspective, a Rams fan perspective that has watched a lot of these games throughout this season, if not all of them, he thinks that the Rams are going to have a time with Tom Brady today. He thinks
Okay.
that offensive line for Tampa Bay is beat up. Thinks Aaron Donald,
Tristan
obviously
Wirfs is out.
Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. He's going to do what he does, right? But they added Von Miller. They got other guys on that defensive line as well. And he thinks they're going to eat up Tom Brady today. He's going to have him, a little nervous in the pocket, playing that what you expect Tom Brady, the saying about Tom Brady, get pressure, hit him, knock him down, and that'll fluster him a little bit. That's what he thinks is going to happen. And then obviously the Rams offense is the Rams offense.
Yeah.
They're going to score points. So it's interesting hearing that from the Rams fan perspective, because I don't know, just putting myself in their shoes, I think I would just not be so overly confident. Just based off previous things that have happened in previous
Well,
seasons.
you got to remember
different team.
Before the Rams made this move, before they made the moves for Von Miller and OBJ, when the Bucs were fully healthy, the Rams took it to the Bucs
early on in the season. They did.
If you're a Rams fan, if you put the roster side by side, the Rams have more talent.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy. That Bucs defense showed up last week. They showed up against the Philadelphia Eagles. How are they going to look when Sean McVay spreads them out and he's got OBJ and Van Jefferson and Cooper Kupp, and then Cam Akers is back and Sony Michel's back there with Stafford? It's going to be a very interesting ball game. They have more talent. I'm with your boy. I think that the Rams are going to win this one. It's tough, man. I'm not including the Rams in any of my parlays, like money line.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Man. I can't actually bet against the GOAT. No. I'll pick against the GOAT. I won't bet against the GOAT. I have money on this game, not Rams money line, because it's just too hard to put faith and money behind my prediction that they'll beat the GOAT.
It is hard to say that they will go out there and beat the GOAT. And, to be clear, like making my pick today, I will say, like, I am going with the Buccaneers in this game.
Okay.
And I have it written down here. I had a 31-27 score for this game. Now, we'll see how it all plays out, right? Like, we really don't know. We've called it a coin flip or a coin toss game all day today. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm going with the Bucs simply because Tom Brady. Like, like literally that's the reason that I was leaning against going to.
Hey, Scotty, why are you picking the Bucs?
Tom Brady. Literally, like that. That's where I'm at. Like, I think as soon as everybody starts to doubt the Buccaneers, Tom Brady, then boom, he always reverses it and he throws it right back in your face. And so maybe I'm giving the Rams a little bit of a good luck here.
Smacks you across the effing face.
Maybe I'm giving the Rams a little bit of good luck by going Bucs here. I'm not doubting him, so maybe that gives him a little granted good luck there. But what about keys? Do you have like keys to this game, or is this like a game where you just gotta? These are two like great teams. We're here at the pinnacle of the season. Like, these are the best teams going at it. Like, they just have to play their game, right? Like, are there keys in this game?
I'm not gonna give the cliche of run the ball, keep Tom off the field. I'm not gonna put him on the ground, rattle him. I think it's important to be physical with the Bucs wide receivers. What I wanted the Eagles defense to do, what I wanted their scheme to be, was get up on the line of scrimmage, bump the wide receivers, don't let the quick stuff underneath, because you can try to get to Tom all you want. If you're giving up the stuff underneath, he's going to get the ball out like that. You're not going to touch him, right? Yeah. So take away that, be physical. Jalen Ramsey up on the line of scrimmage, one-on-one against Mike Evans all day long. Make someone else beat you if I'm the Rams. I think they will. I think that will be their scheme. Offensively, you got to score points. If they score more points, they're going to win. Duh. My point is, you have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. This cannot be a Green Bay low-scoring game. This cannot be a 19-point game like the Bengals had. The Rams to win today, I think the Rams have to go over 30. But they had the firepower to go over 30.
They do. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's not going to be your typical, keys to victory. Like I had a few things written down here. That's why I kind of asked you because everything I wrote down was kind of just cliche. Like it's obvious, you know what I mean? Like obviously protect Tom Brady and keep the offense balanced. Like Tampa Bay has been the best when they
it's going to go ahead, give your keys though, because I picked the Rams and my keys were all the from a Rams point of view.
Okay,
you're going Bucks. So what's the Bucks point of view?
Yeah, so on the opposite side of things, it's going to be the opposite of what you said in a sense. But basically what I wrote down, you protect Tom Brady by running the football. You get Fournette back today, which I think that's huge. And I don't know if I'd pick the Bucks if they didn't have Fournette. And once again, I'm not saying I'm picking the Bucks because they have Fournette. I'm picking the Bucks because of Tom Brady.
They have Tom Brady.
But if they didn't have Fournette, I may pick against the Bucks today. I'll put it like that. But just running the football, having that powerful presence, I think that's the difference between Fournette and other running backs. He's just a big body that you have to take to the ground, and that's a hassle when you're also dealing with Tom Brady, Gronk, Mike Evans, these other freaks of nature. So that's one part of it. I think if you're the Buccaneers, I think you start on that, on that Rams offense. Take Cooper Kupp out of the game. However you got to do it. I know it's borderline impossible, and I know it's a lot easier said than done. That would be my first focus. I'm eliminating Matthew Stafford's number one target, Cooper Kupp. And the reason I do that, because it's a little different than, say, another team's number one. And it's more similar, I guess, to like a Cincinnati Bengals with Jamar Chase. Once you take that safety blanket from them, known as Cooper Kupp, known as Jamar Chase, how are they going to act?
Right.
When they look over on third down and Cooper Kupp is just not open, how are you going to act and where are you going to go with your progressions? Obviously, Matthew Stafford, I think, is a great quarterback in the NFL. We're going to see what he looks like when he's going up against pressure and against a GOAT. Like, literally, you are going head-to-head with Tom Brady today. And I think you got to see what Matthew Stafford is capable of, truly, if you're the Bucs, by shutting down Cooper Kupp. And then the other side of that, once you shut down Cooper Kupp, I think the other side of it is making them one-dimensional. Eliminating the run. As Warren's mentioned there, they got their full plethora of running backs in that backfield between Henderson, Cam Akers came back. He looked great last week. Didn't like what he did to Budda Baker, but he did look great, and I understand that he didn't know what was going on during that play. And then Sony Michel, obviously, he's been a sturdy back in the league for a while. So eliminating the run, if you're the Bucs, you're supposed to be this number one rushing defense in the NFL. Take that out of the equation, shut that down, and make Matthew Stafford one-dimensional. And maybe I should put that in front of the Cooper Kupp thing, because Cooper Kupp thing is not as realistic, although it should be a focus. Shut the run down first, then we gravitate, focus on Cooper Kupp. You double him, eliminate him, make OBJ and Higbee beat you. If you're the Bucs, make them beat you, because I think the Bucs, and I see what Warren said here. Cardinals took out Cooper, and y'all saw what happened. Cardinals aren't the Bucs, Remy.
Yeah.
The Bucs are going to be able to put up points today. And so when you're able to put up points and not get down by so much and not become one-dimensional yourself, it changes the game and it changes the pressure and the momentum of the game as well. So it's going to be a totally different game with the Bucs doing this versus the Cardinals doing this, in my opinion, because I think the Bucs have a much better offense than the Cardinals. So those would be my keys to the game. Easier said than done, right?
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get into our parlays for this game, and then we'll wrap up the show fairly quickly with the Bills Chiefs recap from last week, and then looking ahead today. My parlay for the Rams Bucks. You mentioned every player on the Rams offense except for a guy that's scoring today, Van Jefferson. Anytime touchdown score. Gronk. Anytime touchdown score. I think that the Bucs defense, the Rams defense, will be able to kind of take away Mike Evans. I think Gronk will have a decent day. I'm going Matt Stafford 225 plus, and I'm going OBJ 25 plus 1,071 are the odds.
Okay, I like it.
Just a four-legger.
I like it. I was gonna go. Oh man, I forgot about Jalen Ramsey. I'm not gonna lie to you when I was setting up this parlay. Which, how do you do that? You know what I mean? How do you forget the best corner in the NFL? Like,
Yeah.
no, for my parlay here today, I do have Cup in it, even though I did mention that. Even though I say shut down Cup, I don't think that they can. I think
Yeah.
when you talk about anytime touchdowns, Cup is that lock. He is that safety blanket, especially in the red zone for Matthew Stafford. So I have a Cup anytime touchdown here. I have a Leonard Fournette anytime touchdown in the red zone. It's obvious, he's a big body. So if they're able to run the ball, then he should get it in the red zone. I have Tom Brady plus 225 passing yards. I have Stafford plus 225 passing yards. I have OBJ plus 25 receiving yards. And then I did throw in a Mike Evans plus 40 yards receiving. I don't know how you feel about that. Like, it's only 40
I think
yards.
he can get 40. He showed up in a big way last week against Darius Slay.
He looked healthy.
Right. Obviously, the rest of the Rams defense is better than the Eagles. Jalen Ramsey is better than Darius Slay, as much as I love big play Slay. But he showed up against the Eagles. I think, and he's their only. Tom's going to have to rely on him. He's going to have to throw Mike open today. 40 yards. I think you're okay.
So all of that. So the Cup anytime TD, Fournette anytime, TB and Stafford 225 plus passing yards, OBJ plus 25 receiving yards, Evans plus 40 receiving yards. That equals out to a plus 666.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'm putting that in.
Hold on. I have a button on the soundboard that is 666. I don't know what the sound is, let's see.
Sounds positive, so let's do it.
Sounds fucking creepy.
Yeah, it is odd, but I'll roll with it. But yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the Van Jefferson lines though, because I may throw him in for some action there as well today. I do like Van Jefferson a lot. And the thing about OBJ, I would almost go OBJ's way again today.
Yeah, but he scored last week. I'm trying to look at a trend. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. It is a decision that's going to need to be made. If you are on FanDuel, one thing that we haven't done yet that we could look into is FanDuel. You're now able to parlay same game parlays from multiple games. So if you want to lump a couple TD scores together from both games to each, like pick one from each team and try to put something together today, that's also a possibility.
That's a good idea. The only thing, today, as far as like the Chiefs, man, I hate picking Chiefs games. Like I hate doing parlays with Chiefs players and games, man. I don't know about you. Like maybe it's a regular season thing, so I'm going to go for it again today. But just the randoms that come in. Like last week it was McKinnon. You know what I mean? Yeah. He gets the anytime touchdown mixed in there as out of the running back group. But let's get into these to this game today. The Chiefs and the Bills, obviously.
And I don't even know about you. I don't even need to talk about what happened last week.
Yeah, these games.
Two blowouts.
Yeah, we can mention the scores. That's about it. All we need to do.
The Bills. Here's what you know. Josh Allen is that dude.
He's good.
Okay. Like he gave it. Like I get it was Mac Jones in his first playoff appearance. Blah blah blah. They gave it to Bill and that defense. One of the better defenses in the National Football League. They gave it to him. Okay.
It was a revenge game.
That team is elite. They said they said, man, you really thought you could win that division this year? Let me show you what happens when you meet us in the postseason again. And then obviously, Big Ben's hanging it up. The Chiefs take full advantage of that mess that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Neither game was close. And they meet today, and they're going to get a close matchup today, Scotty.
Yeah, and pointing back to both of those games from last week, obviously Bills demolished the Pats 47-17, Chiefs demolished the Steelers 42-21. But between those two quarterbacks, Mahomes and Josh Allen, 10 passing touchdowns. 5 each, I should say. So 5 passing touchdowns for Mahomes last weekend and 5 passing touchdowns for Josh Allen. Josh Allen went over 300 passing yards. Mahomes went over 400 passing yards. So over 715 passing yards between the both of them last weekend and 10 touchdowns between the both of those players. So just to speak on the magnitude of the quarterback matchup that we're looking at today between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about this game?
This game comes down to one very simple thing to me. Who outduels who? That's it. Forget defense, forget whatever. Obviously, turnovers play a factor, but who plays the cleaner game? Who makes the more important throws? Who comes up big in that moment? I think this game is going to be close all the way down to the wire. They're expecting points. I think the over-under is like at 53 and a half, 54 and a half, whatever it's set at. They're expecting big points today, which sometimes tells you this game's going to be like 17-13, but I don't think it will be.
Points,
I think you lay the points today. Who can outduel who, right? Obviously, it's a whole team sport, right? But tonight, which one of these young monsters goes out and wins the game for their team? Which one doesn't turn the ball over? Does Patrick Mahomes, not that a lot of his interceptions were his fault this year. There's a lot of tipped interceptions Patrick Mahomes' way. But does he turn the ball over? Does Allen play as clean of a game like he did against New England? Or does he turn the ball over? It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's funny because, it is who's going to outduel who and who's not going to be erratic, right? Because we've seen the erratic versions of Patrick Mahomes and we've seen the erratic versions of Josh Allen, to be frank. It is going to come down to who outduels one another, but also who doesn't turn the ball over. And you kind of hinted at that as well. Just a few notes from this matchup. Obviously, the Bills beat Kansas City in the regular season 38-20. That was back in October. So that was when Kansas City was going through a little bit of their situation at the beginning of the season there. And also just another note that I have written down here. The Bills, like on paper, they clearly have like the better team, I would say, overall.
Better defense.
Especially when you're including defense. They have a significantly better defense than the Chiefs. But can they stop Patrick Mahomes? And, similar to what you said, that's what it's going to come down to. And can the Chiefs stop Josh Allen? Or I guess we shouldn't even ask that. Can they stop them? Like, they can't do that. But can they stop them at one point in the game, right? Like, who's going to get the first stop of the game? And maybe they come out sloppy, but I could see this being one of those games where each team scores on every possession, till a certain point in the game where, somebody has to get a stop or a turnover. Yeah. So I believe which way are you going? Let's clear it up. Which way are you going in this game?
Simply because of Jackson Mahomes, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I'm kidding. I didn't hear the first part there.
I'm kidding about the reasoning, but yes, I do like the Buffalo Bills today. When I filled out my playoff bracket, yes, I lost my Super Bowl winner, but I do have the Bills going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. As much as it pains me now that Cincinnati's right there, and we said it yesterday. I don't have a second favorite team, but with the Eagles out, I want to see Cincinnati win now. Yeah. So it pains me to say that, but I do. I think it's Josh Allen's year, that number one seed. Derrick Henry, he's out of the way.
Yeah.
If you can just go and beat Patty, I think that I think that would do it. I think if they can beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs today, it would just propel them right to the Super Bowl. Because if you go and beat them, I know we love Joe Burrow, but you have all the confidence in the world to beat the Cincinnati Bengals next week at home.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just have written down here for Buffalo. And just to be clear, I'm going Kansas City in this game. But as far as Buffalo Bills, I think if they just go and play Buffalo Bill football, have fun. Don't think about it too much. As far as like, oh, we lost to them last season and, the AFC championship or, we dogged them earlier. Don't think about it too much. Don't think about it as the Chiefs and Mahomes. Just go out there and play football. Josh Allen, play free, play loose, and play control football. And they should be able to beat this team. Like I said, I think the Bills have the better team. But I'm going Kansas City in this game, and I'm going Kansas City 35-32, 3-point victory. I do think it's going to be close regardless of the score. And I think it's going to be high scoring, like you said there. I see way too many people picking the Bills, and I get it. I think this season the Bills have kind of turned that corner, especially since towards the end, not the end of the season, but towards the end, we were really questioning the Bills.
Yeah, when they were the 7th seed.
Yeah, when they lost to coming off that terrible loss to New England, then they had like another embarrassing loss, I think, as well. But they've come a long way. They've turned the corner since then. Obviously, they look
Josh Allen's
very
playing great football.
They look very great. And I think it is going to be a close game. It's going to be a coin flip, as we've mentioned all throughout the day. But I think Kansas City shines through. I think Mahomes, my mom put it in the chat there, or in the comments there earlier. When we get to the playoffs, we see a different version of Mahomes. And, all they need is motivation at this point in Kansas City. And I think we saw that early on in the season when everybody was doubting them. And then, they come into this game and they're not even, they're actually technically underdogs today at home. They're 1-point favorites, which, as we all know, in Vegas, that means they're probably a 2-point underdog to the Bills at home. And I think that's all the Kansas City needs, is that motivation, that bulletin board material. But what I would say about the Buffalo Bills, if there was ever a time when it's time to make that step, get past that benchmark, that milestone of beating Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs in the AFC, it's this season. It feels like now or never for the Bills. I will say that. They got to take that step at some point, and losing to the Chiefs back-to-back seasons in the playoffs is not the way to do it. But for some reason in my gut, I just have Mahomes coming out on top here today, man. I think he's going to.
It's going to be a battle, bro.
I think that's what it's going to come down to. And the other thing I have written down here, the defense that forces 2 turnovers today, not 1, but 2 turnovers will win the game. Right. And I think it'll be the Chiefs defense, but we will see. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. What you got parlay wise?
Parlay time. Let's get it. I have Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown score. It was a year ago today, I believe, that Stephon Diggs was seen standing, watching Kansas City celebrate in the AFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl. He's finding the end zone today. Travis Kelce will also find the end zone today. Both of them anytime TD scorers. Josh Allen, 250-plus passing. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce each 50-plus receiving. It's not as big as my other one, but it's a plus 806.
I got a pretty big one here.
Okay.
And I actually like your anytime touchdown picks. I did go away from them. But I actually do like those a lot. So just to be clear, the one that I'm looking at right now is sitting at a plus 21.29. So I got a Jerick McKinnon anytime touchdown. I think the Chiefs will get him in the end zone. I think it'll be rushing this week instead of receiving, though. I also have Dawson Knox anytime touchdown. Okay. I know he had 2 last week, which would tend to lead me to go away from him. But he's been a favorite all season, and I've won some money all season off.
Yeah, on Dawson. Yeah, me too, dude. I was gonna say he's been pretty reliable.
He's been good to me, man, in the red zone. I will say that. So I got him for an anytime touchdown. I got Mahomes and Josh Allen 250 plus.
Okay,
so I'm with you there. I have Kelce plus 40 yards receiving. I have Knox plus 25 yards receiving. I have Gabriel Davis plus 25 yards receiving.
Wow. Okay.
And I have Byron Pringle, 25-plus yards receiving. So I kept it low, but really all these guys got to do is make one catch. If you want to get really okay, I'm sorry. So with the Knox touchdown, I have both written down here just in case you wanted to go one or the other way. So without the Knox anytime touchdown, it's 21-29.
Okay.
With the Knox anytime touchdown, it's 64-12. I know it sounds crazy.
Wait. Hold on. It's McKinnon touchdown.
That's Knox probably the
McKinnon touchdown. Knox touchdown. Mahomes and Allen 250.
Yeah.
Kelce 40.
Yeah.
Pringle 25. Knox 25, and Davis 25.
Yeah.
I might find a way to tell you, dude. I might find a way to tell you without maybe one of the 25s.
Yeah,
I'd
probably take Gabriel Davis off there.
Yeah,
Davis or Knox. I don't know. I feel like Knox.
I think Knox,
but not get 25.
I think Knox gets 25.
Okay, let me know which way you go because I might just go the same way as you, just so we're on the same page and got some vibes going there. But yeah, man, I don't know. This game is tricky, so I didn't want to go because these teams have so many weapons.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't want to go too high for any one player in reality.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it could be spread out, but
it's funny, man.
Kelsey could go for 100. Tyreek Hill could go
Yeah.
for 100 and nobody else get anything.
Yeah.
Like, it could very well go like that.
It's funny though. Yesterday you and I were same picks, two the same. Today we're on opposite ends of the
right?
conversation today. I got the Rams, you got the Bucks, I got the Bills, you got the Chiefs. And guys, Scotty, I think that is going to wrap up this Sunday edition of Turf Talk. Is there anything else that we're missing?
Just head over to manscaped.com and use that code DSM for 20% off and free shipping. That is certainly all I got for you. But
and I got a good ad read coming next time we're live on air. Don't you guys worry. But like Scotty said, head on over to manscaped.com, plug in code DSM and get 20% off and free worldwide shipping wherever you are. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media, guys, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy some playoff football, and we will be back later this week getting ready for championship weekend. For myself, for Scotty, have a great night.